rush is getting underway. Major storms wallop to the west coast and northeast, bombarding millions of Americans with heavy rain and snow. And a storm is headed to the middle of the country around the fall holiday. This satellite image shows the storm system sweeping across the Midwest, and tonight is now dumping snow in the east from the mountains of West Virginia and Maryland to Pennsylvania and upstate New York. The big question tonight, what does this mean for the estimated 80 million Americans who will be on the move for the holiday? That's a record number. We have team coverage tonight, starting with CBS's Rob Marciano and those coast-to-coast storms.
Heavy rains continue to pummel the west coast, flooding farmland and causing creeks and rivers to swell.
Looking at the river, man, it's rising really fast.
The Russian River in Sonoma County expected to reach flood stage tonight.
It's going to be a heck of a couple days here.
Overnight, swiftwater rescue crews in Chico, California, rescued 2 people and a dog trapped in their car.
And the water really doesn't have anywhere to go.
Downtown Santa Rosa saw over 12 inches of rainfall in the last 72 hours. Yesterday was its wettest day on record in more than 25 years.
It starts backing up into streets, parking lots, and starts creating a lot of hazards in our community.
Thank you again so much.
Patients at this medical clinic were stranded by floodwaters.
She came here for an appointment, and when her appointment was over, this was completely flooded.
We kept a number of firefighter personnel there until we were able to safely get all those people out of that area.
And winter storms dumped snow from coast to coast. The Northeast saw its first significant snowfall this season. Parts of Pennsylvania and upstate New York have had more than a foot of snow so far. And last night in Cleveland, the seasons changed right before football fans' eyes. Nearly an inch of snow falling during the Browns-Steelers game, making for near whiteout conditions. Back here in Northern California, the ground has given way. One of many mudslides and landslides across this area. The ground completely saturated. Look at this mess from knee-deep in mud here. It's up to the wheel wells of this Suburban. That's going to take some work to get dug out here, and the rain just keeps coming down. The atmospheric river itself is almost over, another 6, maybe 10 hours, and then more intermittent rain as we go through the weekend. But for the folks who live in Northern California, this end of the rain can't come soon enough. Nora?
No doubt. Rob Marciano, thank you for being there. The rough weather caused some delays today, but airlines are watching storms next week that could disrupt holiday travel. Few people know the ins and outs of holiday travel, like our senior transportation and national correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
The Thanksgiving travel rush starts now. In L.A., a long line of flyers before 4 a.m. Marcel Sanders is heading home to Detroit.
How concerned were you about the travel rush?
I'm always concerned, but, this is the best time for me to get home and see my family.
But the potentially record-setting holiday stretch, with more than 31 million expected to fly for Thanksgiving, is starting with some travel troubles thanks to storms on both coasts and air traffic control staffing issues in the New York City area, prompting thousands of flight delays. In Atlanta, Kyla Cox and her young daughter hoped to miss all that mess.
We're nervous. We're running a little late.
The TSA says the Sunday after Thanksgiving could set an all-time record.
Fortunately, our staffing in TSA is also at the highest levels that they have ever been.
AAA expects the surge of holiday drivers to hit full speed by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Nearly 72 million are estimated to hit the road, another record.
American Airlines expects to fly more than 8 million people for Thanksgiving. Those 8 million people will consume nearly 7 million Biscoff cookies that, if you lined up, would cover the distance of a flight from New York to Charlotte, Nora.
Those are my son's favorite cookies. All right, Chris Van Cleve, thank you. Back here in Washington, as the president-elect rapidly names his cabinet, we just learned who Donald Trump plans to nominate or name to one of those top positions. CBS News has learned Scott Bessent is Trump's choice for Treasury Secretary. The president-elect hopes the hedge fund manager will boost his tariffs plan. CBS' Zed O'Keefe reports on all the new information in the Trump transition.
Tonight, another legal victory for President-elect Trump as the judge in the New York hush money case postponed sentencing indefinitely and will now hear arguments on whether the case should be thrown out entirely because Trump's headed back to the White House.
This case should have never, ever been brought.
Among those who stood by Trump during the so-called hush money trial, where he was convicted of 34 felony counts, is his new pick to serve as Attorney General, Pam Bondi, chosen just hours after the embattled Matt Gaetz withdrew. Like other Trump choices, Bondi is a fierce loyalist.
He is the strongest human being I know.
She defended him during his first impeachment trial.
We're here tonight because they threw due process, fundamental fairness, and our Constitution out the window in the House proceedings.
And backed his attempts to overturn the 2020 election.
They are not letting every legal vote count.
Bondi is now poised to carry out Trump's plan to overhaul the Justice Department and possibly go after those who went after him.
You know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones.
Her 2 terms as Florida Attorney General marked by one Trump-related controversy when she declined to pursue a fraud case against the for-profit Trump University, as the Trump Foundation gave $25,000 to a super PAC supporting Bondi. Both denied any connection. And while Trump's railed against the so-called swamp in D.C.,
we'll drain the swamp once and for all. We will get that done.
Bondi has spent 5 years at a lobbying firm in Washington with clients that included Amazon, General Motors, and the government of Qatar. As for Gates' future, he announced today he wouldn't return in January to serve in the next Congress.
I'm still going to be in the fight, but it's going to be from a new perch.
Florida's governor today set a special election to fill Gates' seat in April. That means House Republicans will begin the new session one vote down in an already closely divided chamber. Nora?
Very closely divided. All right, CBS's Ed O'Keefe in West Palm Beach, thank you. For more insights on the Trump transition, we're joined by Face the Nation moderator and CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan. And I know, Margaret, you've got some new reporting. Let's talk about the president-elect's choice for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth. He was with senators yesterday. How's he doing in his attempts to try and win over support?
Well, the choice of Hegseth is drawing some scrutiny, not just because he doesn't have government experience, but also because of the disclosures that raise questions around character and conduct. The accusations around that 2017 encounter and the disclosure that he paid a woman to stay quiet about that. His decision to say publicly he doesn't support women in combat, despite the fact that more than 200,000 women serve in active duty, thousands of them in frontline combat positions. Nora, I know you know that well. And another big issue is his decision to side with convicted murderers over military leadership. He has been an advocate for troops who have been convicted of having conducted illegal battlefield killings.
It's so interesting how so many of these senators will react at these potential hearings in January. And then what about the president-elect's plan for this mass deportation and then using the military to do that?
Well, it's how you do it that's causing some friction with some of these senators, including a Republican who's set to chair the Homeland Security Committee, Senator Rand Paul. He has said, even though there's broad support for mass deportations, he's not on board with the military and military assets being used to do so. We know that Stephen Miller, a top advisor to Donald Trump, has said the plan is to deputize the National Guard in red states, have them act as immigration officials, including in surrounding states. And under federal law, it is illegal for the military to be conducting things like a domestic government agency. So Rand Paul standing up and saying he's not on board with it, that's a challenge to a very central campaign promise.
There's lots more reporting to do and learn about what's next. Thank you. So be sure to watch Face the Nation this Sunday because Margaret's guests include the aforementioned Republican Senator Rand Paul and Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, who served in combat and is on the Senate Armed Services Committee. President-elect Trump's threat to carry out mass deportations is putting immigrant communities across the nation on edge. Take Springfield, Ohio, where Trump accused Haitian immigrants without any evidence of eating pets. Well, many are now leaving the city fearing deportation. CBS's Nicole Valdez spoke with a woman in Springfield about the uncertain future for her community.
I just boiled that. It takes a long time to cook.
Kathleen Moyes fled unspeakable violence in her homeland of Haiti 6 years ago, hoping to find peace and a slice of the American dream.
I stay here. I do two jobs to make my business. That's why I don't go back Haiti.
How many people do you think that you know have left Springfield?
I know almost 10 people.
And who are those people?
Friends, my neighbors.
She saved money for years and recently opened a restaurant. One of the thousands of Haitian immigrants building a life in Springfield, Ohio.
Can I help you?
who now find themselves in the crosshairs of the incoming administration.
We're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country, and we're going to start with Springfield.
Moise, like most, are here legally through temporary protected status, which President-elect Trump has vowed to end.
I can't talk.
I know, it's difficult.
I'm scared because on my business 80 is born. I lost my mom. Someone come in the business. They shoot my mom. The gun. Born my business. Yeah, deportation go back 80. For me especially, I gonna be dying. I gonna be dead.
Many Haitians are leaving town, even Moise's own daughter.
When your daughter told you she wanted to leave, did you think about also leaving?
Yes, I keep thinking about that. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I keep thinking about that.
We're hoping everything works out the way it needs to work out, you know?
Okay.
God somehow works everything out, you know?
If you
And
got
so-
God, you have everything.
That's right.
Faith fueling Moise's motivation to keep cooking, to stay in Springfield. While her business and her future hang in the balance. Nicole Valdez, CBS News, Springfield, Ohio.
As President-elect Trump taps a vaccine skeptic to oversee the nation's health policies, a growing number of parents are reluctant to get their kids vaccinated. We've got